Good morning. Thank you. What a beautiful way to start our morning. And what a beautiful day to be here together exactly where we're all meant to be. My name is Deanna Parks, and I serve on the board, and it's my honor to open our service today. At this point, if you haven't turned off your cell phone, will you please take a moment to do that? And while you're doing that, I welcome everybody here. We're so glad you're here. And if you're online at home, we're so glad you're with us as well. So happy to have Reverend Shara with us today. Continuing her talk, I'm sure, from last week. And we also have the Voices of Unity Choir with us. So thank you. I feel the red. I feel it coming. After service today, Reverend Shara will be giving her Salon Plus. She talked about that last week. So that is a deeper dive into the salon. It will start at 12:45 and go until 3 o'clock today, if you can come back in to the sanctuary. Her dive will be into the hero's journey into wholeness. So please join us for that, and that will be based on a love offering. A reminder that if you've given over $100 last year, you should have received your annual giving statement last week. If you did not receive that, please talk to Mary Jean or Jennifer. On Sunday, February 12th, next Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday, Reverend Blair will hold an after-service workshop called The Power of No. And you can see in your program more details about that, and he promises to have you out in time to watch the Super Bowl for kickoff, okay? And speaking of Super Bowl, February 12th is Super Bowl Sunday with an S-O-U-P-E-R, Super Bowl Sunday. For the next 2 Sundays, you can give to our Super Bowl Sunday campaign to end hunger. There's Arnie and Pam have their Super Bowl Sunday football bowls to collect any donation you have. So please, if you can do that after service today or after service next week, you can look for Arnie or Pam or anyone holding those footballs to donate. The supper program, your donations go directly to the Sunday supper program to alleviate hunger for those in our own Tustin community. Please save the date for the 26th of February from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock. Jean-Claude will be giving an introduction to an orientation for the prayer chaplain, if that's of interest to you. So save the date on the 26th. We have more information to come. And at this point, if you have a February birthday, Mom, it's your birthday. I'm waiting for you to stand up, Mom. Will you stand? Because we would like to sing Happy Birthday. Ready? February is a good unity month. Lots of love. I love it. All right, at this time, I would like to invite Reverend Shara to come up for an evolutionary update.
Thank you, Deanna. Thank you, everyone. Yes, lots of love going on 9 months ago. It was with all of these gifts to show for it. So this is the evolutionary update, which is the time to give you an upfront, behind-the-scenes look at what's going on here at Unity of Tustin. So I would like you to take a moment to reflect on what drew you to Unity. What drew you to Unity? A couple of people shout out 1 or 2 words. Love, family, inclusiveness, prayer, community, truth. Marge Britt. Yeah. Meditation. Family ministry. Beautiful. Choir. Oh, you're hard to stop. This is a good problem. Yeah, all of these things. And, I'm sure, like me, you want to make sure that all of these things we provide as Unity of Tustin are available for ourselves, our community, and for those who comes after us for many years. The phone agrees. And this is dependent on us. We, the Is it me? No. Oh, okay. So we've set a goal, and the goal that we have as a leadership team is to underwrite 100% of our operating expenses. So how many of you have worked for a business or owned a business? That's a good number of us. And I know with my business, I needed to know how much money was coming in, right? And our spiritual community, we have the same needs. So it's very hard as a leadership team to make wise decisions when we don't know what we can count on, when we don't know how much money is coming on. And to make us sustainable so that we can continue to live out this family, this love, this belonging, this community, this place of purpose and mission to transform lives and inspire loving action, and inspire people to make a positive difference in the world and to move into wholeness and more love. We need to be sustainable. So we looked at the number of people who give on a regular basis, and we looked at our operating budget, and it comes to about $290 per person per month to keep Unity of Tustin functioning. Functioning as, with a lot of fiscal responsibility, I would say. Now, some of you cannot give $290 a month per person, and some of you can give more. And our extraordinary givers in our community and our tithers give quite a bit more. But what's important is that each of us gives what we can in integrity with our means as spiritual principle, as to be what we want to see flourish in the world. And when we do that, when we all give in integrity according to our means, then whatever each person gives is coming forward as a sincere owner, partner of the community, regardless of the amount. And that's how we come forward as the beloved community. The other reason that we're looking at the benefit of funding 100% of our operating expenses through committed giving is because it's a challenge to fund our ministry when we don't know what's coming in, because then it becomes about survival and not about living that passion, not about living that evolutionary purpose. I mean, could you imagine running your household month to month, year after year, without knowing how much money was coming in each month? What would that be? Stressful. Yes, it would be very stressful. That's the right answer. But that's the challenge of our leadership. And so when you give what you can and you make it automatic, we know what we can count on, and it doesn't have to be so stressful. You're actually becoming a peacemaker. Because when you think about it, some board members are not going to know what's going to come in, so they're going to want to be conservative and cut. Some board members are going to be like, well, we just have to do what's needed. Everyone is serving with the intentionality of being a good financial steward. But when we have different approaches to a problem, there's tension, even when there's good intention. And one of the ways to get underneath this is simply to know what we can count on. So we ended 2022 about more than $30,000 in the black. Do you know how much more fun those board meetings would have been had we known the whole year we were going to end $30,000 in the black? We would have a line of you signing up to be on the board. So my hope and our aspiration is to work together as the beloved community to engage in 100% participation for 100% ownership of our community. And we don't expect this to happen all at once or overnight. Give what you can, even if it's not the cooperative share, but make it automatic so we know what we can count on, so we can be good financial stewards, move out of survival and move into the deeper purpose and mission of the family and the community and the love and the belonging that we celebrate here Sunday after Sunday, and that I know makes our lives richer, and that we want as a legacy to make richer going forward into the future and beyond. Sound good? Yes. Okay, well, thank you. Thank you for that, listening to our evolutionary update. And now, as the beloved community, let's sing together our new congregational song for the month of February.
Very good transition. Thank you. And welcome, welcome. My name is Bonnie Gosline. It's my honor to be one of your prayer chaplains here at Unity of Tustin. It's also my pleasure and honor to light the Christ candle. And so for today, when we light this candle, let it embody the Immaculate Heart, that one that exists within all of us, where all is love There are always solutions, and we can release any trials or troubles that we have. Go into that heart and be one with the Spirit of God. The Daily Word, February 5th, 2023, healing. From the scriptures we have, Mark 5, chapter 34. Daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace and be healed of your disease. Healing. My faith is making me well. Unity co-founder Myrtle Fillmore's healing journey began when she changed her mind. Inspired by the words of a healing practitioner, she took this affirmation to heart. I am a child of God, and therefore I do not inherit disease. After 2 years of persistent health-affirming affirmation, meditation, prayer, and practice, Myrtle was healed. Her faith made her well. Myrtle Fillmore lived joyously and vigorously for many years. I take inspiration from this story. I too am a living expression of God. I feel my body's quickening response as I claim my inheritance of divine life. Vibrantly active in every cell of my body. Good nutrition, exercise, rest support my healing practice. My faith is making me well. The affirmation, my faith is making me well. We can do that one more time. My faith is making me well. Thank you. Amen.
Oh, beautiful. Yes, our faith is making us well. Our community is making us well. Our beingness in the present moment, where we are receptive to the wholeness of all that is making us well. So let's take a time now to move into prayerful, meditative part of our service. I invite you to drop in, drop down, and feel into the healing wholeness. Our 2023 word for Unity of Tustin is breakthrough. And we know that there is intentionality and directionality towards wholeness as we break through into new ways of being. But also, we know that on the other side, spirit, wholeness, God, and love is breaking through into us. So right now, rest in the receptivity of being the beloved of the mystery, of the wholeness of love. Feel yourself being reached for. Feel love itself breaking through the barriers to embrace you in unconditional love, exactly as you are. Beautiful, sincere, holy and wholly open to the faith and community that makes you well. And we pray this in the name and after the nature of that indwelling Christ presence, the living love that connects and creates all of reality, as we move into this meditative song by our brilliant and beautiful Carol Roman. Thank you. Oh, just breathe in that music and allow the flow to continue. I invite you to take a deep breath and accentuate the exhale. And then allow the in-breath to just flow from the full accentuated exhale. And also invite you to imagine a pebble dropping from the top of your head down to the floor of your abdomen. And once there, allow there to be a somatic opening where you listen with your whole body. With your whole body, I invite you to attune to these words by Ganja White. In particular, noticing any sensations that arise. What if our religion was each other? If our practice was our life? If prayer was our words? What if the temple was the earth? If forests were our church? If holy water, the rivers, lakes, and oceans? What if meditation was our relationships? If the teacher was life? If wisdom was self-knowledge? If love was the center of our being? What if? What if our religion was each other? If our practice was our life? If prayer was our words? What if the temple was the earth? If forests were our church? If holy water, the rivers, lakes, oceans? What if meditation was our relationships? If the teacher was life? If wisdom was self-knowledge? If love was the center of our being? What if love was the center of our being? in the silence. And as love as the center of our being, we send this love to all of those on our prayer list here at Unity of Tustin and all of those in our mind and heart. As we come forward as our unique vibration of love, knowing that just like our voices of unity of choir, our voice works in harmony with all the other voices of love, bringing forward the beloved community.
The name of the song that the choir is going to sing is actually called Let There Be Love in English. It is actually a Hebrew chant, and the Hebrew word is called Hashkivenu. So Hashkivenu means return us. So the actual transliteration is, lay us down to sleep in peace, O Lord our God, and raise us up or return us to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Hashkivenu.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
I'd like a special round of applause for Marcella and Jeff Peeney.
That was so precious. For those of you who don't know, Marcella and Jeff are married. Even more precious. Yeah, basking and all that. Some of you might get the daily meditations from Richard Rohr, and he's been talking these days about the first and second half of life. And in the first half of life, he calls it about the survival dance. And these are questions about identity, boundaries, superiority, security. It's the first half of like tasks of creating the container, of finding our way in the world, of making it happen. It's not bad, it's even necessary. But if we continue growing, we move into the second half of life. And that's the dance of love. It's the dance of wholeness, the dance of mystery, the dance of emergence, evolution, the unknown, the dance of soul. And it's less about achieving a goal and more about attuning to the love and wholeness that is leading us. Joseph Campbell called it the self-achieved surrender. That's what we all do as the hero in our own soul, spiritual hero's journey. We take the capacity for achievement that we created in the first half of life, and we apply it to achieving the capacity to surrender to the love and wholeness in the second half of life. So I was thinking about this in terms of Unity of Tustin, because we really are a second half of life church. I mean, we're a church that centers those questions, the questions about soul, about meaning, about what matters most. The community that is moving into a trust and faith of unfolding. And then I was thinking about where we might be in that trajectory, and it occurred to me that we might be in the second half of life. Now, you know, the last 30 years we were doing very important second half of life work, creating this expanded sanctuary, these beautiful gardens, having master teachers from around the country come and continue to give new elixir to the consciousness of this community. And now it looks like the question's a bit different. The question is, what is our legacy? How do we take the sacredness of this space that's been created and allow it to be a gift that continues? Reminds me of this quote attributed to many different cultures that says, "The wise society, the wise beloved community, is the one who plants trees in whose shade it will never sit." Isn't that beautiful? Oh, and isn't that what we're being tasked to do? We know that the current model of spiritual community is in decline, but we don't really know what's next. But there's this knowing, recognition, and aspiration that we need places to go that centers those questions about love and soul. And how do we evolve into what the world needs and plant those trees? And we might not sit in that shade, but we are seeding it as a promise of longevity, of sanctuaries that center soul. So as you all know, the leadership team is working with Dr. Gary Simmons on the integral ministry practice, and that consists of many things. And I don't know if any one aspect of it, the spirit groups or the shadow work or the organizational development or the flattening of hierarchy and more engagement and spiritual cooperative and all the litany of infrastructure changes that I could list that's part of this program is going to be the secret sauce. But I think there's a deeper intentionality. And the deeper intentionality is to create a field of complexity from which it's more likely breakthroughs, novelty, innovation that serves our changing world will emerge. And it turns out that one of our best role models to give a felt sense of what this might look like is slime mold. From the sublime to you know, when we change consciousness, we have to change language. So now when you go and write your poetry in your journal, you can be, she was enlightened like slime mold. But before I serve you our slime dessert, let's revisit the hero's journey. And I'm going to read a little bit about the hero's journey to kind of catch us up by this wonderful book called In the Foothills of Enlightenment, Metaphors for Awakening by Mary Jean Hawes. Hawes, is that Hawes? You know her? Oh.
She's famous.
Oh, she is famous. She is famous. I'll tell you, this is a beautiful book. One thing I love the most, Mary Jean, is you have a consistency of tone as a wise, patient love guide, spirit guide. Amen. And it comes through with consistency through every page. It's a beautiful book. Very beautiful. Thank you. So Mary Jean summarizes the hero's journey and talks about how primary mythologies in all cultures and in all times tell a story that Joseph Campbell calls the hero's journey. And in this journey, the human world has lost its enchantment, dominated by only the observable and the egoic, the first half of life, languishing in chaos and error. The hero is needed to embody the qualities that will revitalize society, and the female entity, distinct from her contaminated peers, provides the necessary incubator. The hero's story is then always a departure from the normative, typified often by an outer journey in the myths, but symbolic of an inner journey. Next, the hero endures some sort of initiation, ending in a literal or symbolic death, culminating in a resurrection. Finally, the hero returns to the ordinary world to share the results of this journey with his fellow creatures. His message is vital to the creative regeneration of his tribe, and part of the effectiveness of the message seems to require either a literal or figurative death in the ordinary world. Hawes ends. That's one of the main features of the hero's journey. You have no idea where any of this is taking you, or why anyone would even want to take such a journey. But the hero, in his wisdom, surrenders to the mystery, trusting that something greater than himself knows the way. So that's what we're talking about here, surrendering to something greater that knows the way. That self-achieved surrender. And it occurred to me that as we continue our evolution, even the hero's journey might be evolving. So we have the story of the hero needing to leave to get something and bring it back to revitalize. But I'm seeing that these days, we're also moving from centering individual achievement to centering collective achievement. So this means that the hero's journey, our journey, may be less about going out and more about joining with, connecting with our people, connecting with each other, joining as community. And it's from that field the new elixir will emerge. It's not so much anymore about only finding the outer grail, the Holy Grail. It's both and. That's part of it. But it's also about creating the conditions for a new type of Holy Grail to emerge from our we-ness, from our togetherness. Instead of going out to find the Holy Grail, we come together so a new evolutionary Holy Grail can emerge. And it's about moving from separation, coming apart, to wholeness as community, as the Sangha, as the body of Christ, as a choir, as the beloved community. And really nothing demonstrates the beloved community better than slime mold. Let me tell you a little bit about it. It's fun. It's fun. So there's a field of study known as emergence theory, which observes that coherent unities display properties that cannot be accounted for or even found at the level of their individual parts. For example, water is wet, but a water molecule is not wet. The air around you has a temperature, but the individual air molecule has no temperature. A choir produces harmonies, but a single singer cannot. So anytime that life expresses intelligence, it's a little bit like 1 + 1 = 3. We don't get to the greater whole by adding the pieces together. It emerges when there's a certain coherence and complexity to the material expression. So it's a paradox where these emergent qualities are dependent on our interdependence. We can't separate it to find it. You can't break the tuning fork to find the middle C. It comes from the wholeness. Does that make some sense? Good. So slime molds are found in woods among rotting leaves and trees, and all they are a simple amoeba, a simple single-celled organism that has very primitive capacities that simply respond to stimuli. But what they do is they start banding together, and they start gathering in groups, and then in larger groups, and then in larger groups, until they become visible to the naked eye, and they can start taking up space. And although they're no more than single-cell organisms, when they gather, they demonstrate behavior as complicated as animals who possess muscles, nerves, and even a simple brain. Now, this isn't because they're coming together and transforming, like the caterpillar, into a new being. They stay as simple, single-celled organisms that become as intelligent as animals. And they even start to demonstrate abstract intelligence. They can find the shortest distance between mazes. They can map out and remember terrain. They can recreate the routes of transportation systems, select the healthiest foods from a menu, and measure regular intervals of the passage of time. Pretty good for an amoeba, right? So they show us a compelling example of the emergent nature of intelligence. So for example, a bunch of researchers in Japan tried to create a model of the best routes in the city, because that's a very hard thing for computers to generate. So they put food where all the major cities were, and then they let the slime mold kind of take over. So the slime mold first went throughout the entire space, and then they started to retract and consolidate around the food sources, and they created a pathway that was strikingly similar to the train system in Tokyo that was created by city planners and engineers. Another thing that they did was they put 11 different foods in a circle. The slime mold expanded and they tasted all 11 foods. And then they constellated around the one food that was 1 part protein, 2 parts carbohydrates, which was their optimal diet. They like moist human environments. So there was an experiment where the temperature, every 30 minutes, a fan would blow for 5 minutes, making it drier and cooler. During that time, the slime mold would slow down and contract. Then the researchers stopped blowing the air. But nevertheless, every 30 minutes, the slime mold continued to slow down and contract, anticipating the air at 30-minute intervals of time. Yeah. Yeah. So this wasn't even a response to stimuli. It was a response to an internal learning and memory that happened with no brain, no leader, and no recognizable organ. And not one individual amoeba in that collective had any idea what was going on. So there's this capacity. There's this capacity for something to emerge from the field that even informs the field. There's a dance going on. And what I'd like to talk about is, what does this mean? How can we use our wonder and lean into this a little bit more? Because this is part of that second half of life, where we're moving beyond the individual, where we're moving into something bigger, where we're moving into the field of love and wholeness, where we're letting it guide us, where we're creating it as it's guiding us. And that's part of our work as the beloved community. And this isn't just slime mold. This exists with bees, the migration patterns of birds, monarch butterflies, ants, the murmurings of starlets. Wherever intelligence exists, but not in any one individual. Now, some more skeptical scientists would say that there's got to be some Newtonian explanation for it, and if we just knew it, then that would all make sense. And That may or may not be true, but it does seem like there's something non-local happening. Something that's a bit beyond the Newtonian nature of the connection, that's more quantum, that's more mysterious, that's more about a field. It's more about love. It's more about wholeness. Oh my God, it's more about God. You know, and maybe you've had your own experiences of something happening non-local that defies any explanation and that really feels like a miracle. How many people have had an experience like that? So we've got maybe about half. About half of us have a lived reference point of something that is absolutely unexplainable, but it happened to us, so we know it and we can trust it and we can have faith in it. And it's important to have this faith from somewhere, because in the hero's journey, when we self-achieve surrender, if we do not have a faith that we are surrendering to something that is intelligent enough to bring about a higher order of intelligence, then why would we surrender? No, we're surrendering into a field of love. We're surrendering into the mystery. And it's the knowing that we will be caught and held by this divine order that allows us to participate through surrender with spirit, which is part of our spirituality in the second half of life. Now, this morning when I was going over my talk, I was going to tell you my story of surrender, one of my pivotal stories of surrender, but then I realized that would be 20 minutes into the talk, and it would go really long. And if I think it's going to go really long, you know it's going to go really long. So we're going to save that for another day. And by the way, how many of you know that all of our services are recorded and accessible online forever? Since we started doing it. Only about half, only about the same amount that's had a miracle in their lives. I hear that. I'm like, well, you could always watch it online. Online? Yes, online. On our website, on our YouTube channel, on our Facebook. You can watch these services after the fact at any time. And I bring it up partly because some of these talks that I'm doing somewhat go together. So I tend to be able to lose you even when they don't do that. So you may want to watch what you miss and keep up a little bit. I'll keep you on your toes. But it's good too, even of course for Blair and Craig, when you miss something, it's a way to stay connected and a way to go back. And it's very easy. If you need tech help, just ask any of us. Okay, so where was I? Let's see. So everything in the universe at every scale rests on some ground of being, some deeper reality. And that this deepest reality is wholeness and love. It's the month of wholeness and love. And if you don't find slime mold convincing, and if you haven't had your own miracle, you can always look to our master way shower, Jesus. Because this is the core teaching of Jesus. How do we attune to this? This is really what our way shower Jesus taught. So Ilia Delio is one of my teachers, and I think her work is extraordinary, and she talks on Christ in evolution. That's one of her titles of her book. I think that I meditate on. What does it mean for us to be Christ in evolution? And that's Jesus' promise. You'll not do just what I do, you'll do greater things. Yes. So that means that we are Christ in evolution. And one of the reasons I am in ministry is because if I can be part of the movement of us evolving new capacities of wholeness in any way, that's a life worth living. The life we live is the legacy we leave. And how can we live a legacy of embodying even just a smidge more wholeness and love? That's a legacy. That's a pathway. That's foraging a path in the noosphere for all of us to move into. And Ilia Delio is a master at attuning to that mystery and articulating it. And she says this: we can read the history of our 13.7 billion year old universe as the rising up of divine love incarnate, embodied, which bursts forth in the person of Jesus. Not that it didn't exist before Jesus, but he was a master way shower of what embodied, being the embodiment of living love, that is the stuff of creation, looks like. Which bursts forth in the person of Jesus, who reveals love's urge towards wholeness through reconciliation, mercy, peace, and forgiveness. Jesus is the love of God incarnate, the whole maker who shows the way of evolution toward unity in love. So that's what we're doing as followers and students of Jesus. We are moving forward toward unity in love as conscious whole makers. It may be a very nascent quality, but how can we consciously participate in this evolving arc towards wholeness? In Jesus, God breaks through and points us in a new direction. There it is. The breakthrough isn't just us breaking through, it's also God breaking through and loving us and embracing us. God breaks through and points us in a new direction, not one of chance or blindness, but one of ever-deepening wholeness in love. We can trust surrender because it is going into ever-deepening wholeness and love. In Jesus, God comes to us from the future to be our future. I like that. Those who follow Jesus are to become whole makers, uniting what is scattered and creating a deeper unity in love. Christian life is a commitment to love, to give birth to God in one's own life. That's your commitment, to give birth to God in your own life. To give birth to God in one's own life and to become midwives of divinity in this evolving cosmos. We are to be whole makers of love in a world of change. That's a sermon right there. You know, that's something to keep reading. It's really beautiful. And that is what so many religious disciplines are about. It's about decentralizing one's intelligence like the slime mold, and attuning to the truth of the present, to the truth of the now, and allowing that divine grace of the present to live through and guide the body. Live through the body and guide the life. And last week we talked a lot about how that capacity for the body to attune may have atrophied in our culture, but it's still very alive in others. And we are still able to cultivate it and participate from that level as well. So we see this in the hero's journey into wholeness, which really moves us from our container of separation, even separation of sensation, separation of consciousness, into a more of a borderless being. So we become an attuned node of consciousness held by the wholeness of the present moment. And as we grow in sensitivity to this field, we not only feel the guidance, we're activated by it. That's why a lot of trauma therapy and a lot of spirituality is about embodiment, because we're looking to reactivate these dormant qualities that not only guide us, but they also wake us up at the same time. And when we experience this activation, it's because we are being supported by beingness itself, by that field, by that emergent intelligence that's non-local, by what Jesus was following and demonstrating in his life. And when we decentralize our thinking, when we decentralize our life pursuits, when we decentralize ourselves and move out of that first half of life, we are not sacrificing our individual wholeness. It's actually the path where we realize it. So think of the choir. When you sacrifice your individual voice, you're not losing your voice. You're actually finding it in a higher vibration, in a higher way, with a higher impact on all of us. So there's this beautiful relationship between self-achieved surrender and discovery of what matters most, discovery of the authentic self, the being, the Holy Grail. And as community, I would say we're aspiring to this. You know, one of the things with the integral ministry practice and United in Light and the We Space Prayer pilot program and all the different things going on in our community is like slime mold, we're spreading all over the place. We're tasting all the different foods. And this is important. Why is this important? Because we are a system. We are a living system. And like slime mold, we find each other within this system at Unity of Tustin. And we are going to be taking over many fields. We're trying spirit groups, United in Light, cooperative share, shadow work, We Space Prayer, expanded meditation opportunities, innovative organizational development, renting space perhaps to a preschool, researching grants, community partnerships, while continuing with all of our foundational grounding existing ministries. So like the slime mold, we're just spreading around. And then we will intelligently begin to coalesce around areas that are in keeping with our intentionality and our evolutionary purpose to transform into love and wholeness and to inspire loving action and to make a positive difference in our world. And that will be our legacy. So we will begin to self-organize, directed by an intelligence that comes from love, that comes from God, that comes from wholeness, that comes from what in Unity we call divine order. And not according to our will, but through our self-achieved surrender, where we attune to the coherent harmony of wholeness, and that wholeness as a collective will help us discern the best path between the food and the soul. The food our souls need. The food our evolving, changing world needs. Yeah. Just as Jesus did. So everything in the universe at every scale rests on and is affected by a deeper level of reality. So during this month and beyond, may you rest on the deeper reality of wholeness and of love. I love you. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Shara. So grateful. Good morning. My name is Jim Perry, one of your prayer chaplains, and I'm also honored to be your platform assistant today. Now is the time we welcome our first-time visitors in person, and for those who are also online. We're so grateful that you have joined us today. Our evolutionary purpose at Tustin, Unity of Tustin, is to transform lives and inspire people to make a positive difference in the world. We also believe many paths, one God. Unity of Tustin is an inclusive community, and we would like you to know that whatever your background, spiritual path, sexual orientation, or gender identity, you are welcome to celebrate God with us, because God and unity leave no one out. The ushers are coming forward with a flower and an information card so you can connect to our community. If you're here for the first time and are comfortable doing so, please raise your hand. We invite you to do that so we can recognize you. Thank you so much for sharing your Sunday with us. And now it's time for our love offering. For those of you who are not first-time guests, we do take this moment to share our financial gifts with our ministry. Our ministry and meditation gardens at Unity of Tustin exist because of our committed giving. There are many ways for you to give. The ushers are passing the love offering basket. They will be in a moment. And there's a donation kiosk at the back of the sanctuary. There's a QR code on the back of your order of service. Our online friends can click on the donate tab to our live stream. And as we mentioned this morning, automatic giving is a beautiful way to share as well.
So this is our time where we as community can step forward as full owner partners of Unity of Tustin. We are the community, and our gifts are what supports our soulful diving into those second half of life questions that matter most. So with gratitude for these gifts, with gratitude for your spiritual commitment to give to what you want to see flourish in the world, I invite you to affirm our offering affirmation with me together. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And now, as our ushers come forward, our Unity of Voices of Unity Choir has another love gift to share. And this is one that was composed by our amazing Carol Roman herself. So enjoy. Yes.
I celebrate life, I celebrate love. I celebrate life, I celebrate love.
Let the Spirit lead me to my heart's delight. My eyes are open to the shining light.
See the world around me, the beauty of each day. Trusting surrender to God's plan.
Moment by moment I sizzle with zeal. The mountaintops within me my soul yearns to reveal. I celebrate life, I celebrate love. I celebrate life, I celebrate love.
Feel the mystery of the journey.
Surrender to love.
See the sunrise
Through mystic eyes, I celebrate life, I celebrate
Now I know that love surrounds me. I'm ready to receive. I choose to keep an open heart. Yes, I believe.
I celebrate life, I celebrate love. I celebrate life, I celebrate love.
Feel the mystery of the journey.
Surrender to love.
See the sunrise through
Mystic eyes, I celebrate life, I celebrate. I celebrate life, I celebrate love. I celebrate life, I celebrate love.
Feel the mystery of the journey.
Surrender to love.
See the sunrise through
Mystic eyes, I celebrate life, I celebrate. I celebrate life, I celebrate. I celebrate life, I celebrate love.
Beautiful. So we bless these offerings as true celebrations of our life and of our love and of our beloved community. And we affirm that these gifts bless all of those who are touched by our ministry now and in the future. And I invite anyone to come to the salon after service. It's a little different. It's a salon plus. So the first hour is just going to be like the regular salon. So if you've done that in the past and you just want to come, please do. And then just because we are changing things up and spreading a little like slime mold, we're going to try something a little different. And then from there, jump into a deeper dive, some breakout questions that you can or cannot stay for. You don't have to. So we're going to see if there's an interest or a need to go deeper in the salon afterwards. And I invite you all to come and check it out. And with that, I will have our wonderful platform assistant, Jim Perry, bring us home.
I'm honored to invite you to hospitality, share in our blessings with us in the garden, and celebrate community together. We do have our Reiki practitioners today. They have their green ribbons on. Mine's stuffed in my pocket and all wrinkled, so I didn't want to put it on. Have it stick around. So. And the prayer chaplains are also there, Brother Gavin. Thank you. I didn't see it. Our prayer chaplains are at the entrance of the gardens, and they would love to share a prayer with you. And of course, it will be held in strictness confidence. And then let us go forth today together saying the prayer for protection, shall we? The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Go forth and live it.